Hello and welcome to the Auto Guide Show. This week we finally get that big news from Toyota and Lexus. Kyle drives probably the most important BMW in decades, and we have Connie back on to talk about the year that was. But first, a word from our sponsor. eBay has reinvented car buying. From click to curb, everything is covered. With their new secure purchase, eBay isn't just where you find your car, it's where you buy it start to finish. Title, financing, registration, delivery, it's all built in. And eligible vehicle purchases are backed by up to $100,000 in protection. This is what modern car buying looks like. Get your next ride on eBay. eBay, things people love. Secure Purchase is powered by Carmel Dealer Services, LLC, an eBay subsidiary. All right, welcome back. So, Kyle, there it is. After the strange teasing campaign that Toyota did, we finally see the GR GT, and it's got a big hood.
Yeah, this is the most ridiculous hood to axle ratio of any new car in years. It kind of doesn't look believable, right? Like it looks like there's some weird perspective trick going on. But yes, this is it, and it pairs with the Lexus. I'll save the name reveal till later when we talk about it. But the Lexus Sport concept that I saw in Japan, same platform. This, however, is, well, for anybody who thinks that the Supra was too expensive and too high up there, I've got bad news. This is a twin-turbo V8 hybrid supercar. It is an all-aluminum chassis. The body panels are carbon fiber reinforced polymer or more aluminum. Toyota's targeting, just 650 horsepower, a top speed approaching 200 miles per hour. This is a super high performance vehicle, and it also manages to evolve the Hammerhead design language in a way that I think kind of works on a sports car. The back end looks great. It's wild. I can't believe this is going to have a Toyota badge.
Yeah, like the proportions on some small roadsters or compacts in the day, like BMW Zs, for instance.
Yeah,
I get it, but it's just this thing's so much bigger and stretched and wide. It almost looks like an old timey car from like the 1930s when they had a massive hood and a little driver compartment in the back. And it's only for a V8, so I don't know. I guess the hybrid stuff too. Maybe they'll fit a V12 in there one day.
So the thing is like they showed a cutaway and a bunch of technical images when they revealed this last night, and the entire V8 sits behind the front axle, the whole thing. So I think like maybe the fan is aligned with the axle at the front, but that's it. And then it's an 8-speed transaxle, and the electric motor is on the rear axle. So it is a very rear biased front drive platform, to the point that it has a 45-55 front to rear weight distribution.
Oh wow. So it's like when Nissan used to say they had the mid front engine cars. This really is that. So it's like a 1970s American car where you pop the hood and there's like 6 feet of empty space before you hit the engine.
Yeah, you're gonna have to lean way over. It's probably easier to work from the side.
But like you said, with the components, 3,800 pounds, the power and all that, like this is easily a 6-figure vehicle, and it's going after well, I don't know if quite 911 turbo, but pretty close. Entry Ferraris, the Corvette Z06, like it's going after some serious performance machines, and Toyota knows how to make a performance car, but I'm sure they've had to. Like, we saw these things running around Nürburgring for a while in camouflage, so I'm sure it's going to have the performance to back it up. But it's interesting they're going at that spot with Toyota. But honestly, of mainstream brands, sort of like how Chevy does it too, there's enough history and sort of equity in the name, like it works. You're like, oh yeah, okay, Toyota's playing this field now. It's not like, I'm not going to name any other lesser manufacturers, but it's not a huge stretch, right? It's not like Buick suddenly made a Ferrari competitor.
It's funny because you think that's what Lexus is for, but no, like I think there's enough cachet specifically with the Toyota brand, especially with GR. Like GR has made a name for itself in the last 10 years by having these really approachable performance cars, and I think that's the key here. Is while this is obviously going to be a much more expensive model and very limited in terms of production versus other GRs, the idea is that it's supposed to be friendly, right? And fairly easy to come to terms with despite having all this power and only powering the rear wheels. No all-wheel drive here. So
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah. They could
very,
always put an
very
electric motor up
hopeful.
there.
Yeah, I'm very hopeful for what this will be. And of course, we should also point out that there will be a GT3 class racing version 2, which we knew about before because it already went up the hill at Goodwood this summer.
Yeah,
But I mean, that's the thing is you have a tangible race car for the road narrative to sell this GR GT.
yeah. Like Toyota didn't make this because they are like, we're going to make a ton of money on this big profit center, and there's this huge segment need that people want. This car exists for two reasons, and you covered them both. One, it's the halo for the GR brand. All the people who are going to buy GR86s, at some point they're going to imagine they're in the GT, or that's going to help attract them into the showroom, and that's what every brand needs, right? It's the trickle down, and Toyota, now the Super's dead, they don't have a race car, and they need one for especially Super GT, which now uses GT3 regulations. So now they've got an international racer, a GT3 or 500 racer, and something they can sell to consumers. So
it's
like
it's
you
a
just
modern
needed
day
something.
HSV 010.
Well, except for you can buy this one.
Except you can buy this one. I'm just thinking about the potential where in a few years we could conceivably have a comparison test between this and the Genesis supercar. Just throwing that out there.
And like a Corvette and something from Italy. Like it's such
Yeah,
a weird, amazing time to be alive for car enthusiasts.
golden
Uh,
age.
yeah, maybe all that extra space up front for the electric motors when they make the next level up all-wheel drive version.
Maybe it's where you store luggage too, and maybe you also do that in the gas tank. It's like a weird nod to the GT1 homologation special. Yeah, I don't know. This is wild. I'm very much looking forward to learning a lot more about it next year.
And driving it. This is going to be one of those
Yeah,
cars that every auto rater in the world's going to be fighting each other to get behind the wheel, and
like
hopefully I'll get to drive it at
literally,
some point. Yeah,
literally actually fighting.
yeah you and I will have to have I don't know,
Some
paper
more.
rock scissors. Yeah.
Yeah.
So as you hinted, this was one of three, because the race car is another one that was introduced, and hey, look what's back, kind of.
Well, I mean, if Lexus wants to put this badge on it, then it's legit. This is LFA 2.0. It is what we previously knew as the Sport concept, and now it is borrowing the name from an iconic V10 powered supercar, except this one will be all electric. So I'm sure there's a ton of people who are upset about this, and I'm sure 99.8% of them are people who've never ever sat in an LFA or will ever own one because there were only like 500 of them. There's a lot of people angry about this that it doesn't impact them. I understand that it's a big jump, but the reason I'm optimistic about this one, this is going to appear in a few years, this all-electric sports car. And Toyota is also planning on having its solid-state batteries available to customers in a few years. So I would not be surprised if this is going to be a very cutting-edge all-electric sports car.
Yeah, and this one, like, there's no doubt it'll be all-wheel drive when you have an electric platform. Like, why not? It's a no-brainer. You said at the start they wouldn't have put the LFA badge on unless it lives up to that. I think I would preface that it better live up to that because they've put the LFA badge on, because it is such an iconic car. Like this better be a great performer. And the LFA was like, it was good on track, especially the Nürburgring version. Like that too was a front mid-engine vehicle, and it outperformed sort of what you'd expect. But part of its allure was that engine and the noise it made.
Yeah.
And this obviously is not going to have that because it's an EV. I mean, they could make a noise, but so they're going to have to make up for it in other ways, because that, like you said, I've never sat in an LFA, but I saw one drive by under screaming power, and it is amazing. So
yeah,
there needs to be like a wow factor. But if this thing, like you said, has like 500 miles of range from a solid state battery and over 1,000 horsepower and does this and that, then it's like, that's why the LFA was so cool, was it did all these things and had such a weird, I don't mean weird like bad, like just a a distinctly unique style at the time, and no one expected it. So
Yeah,
um,
and I think the thing about the LFA is like, yeah, we remember that engine because it was incredible sounding, but like it was down on power versus the Italians. It wasn't quite as fun to drive based on reviews years ago
mhm.
as those were. But I think it's become such a legend because there was so much effort put into it, right? Like Toyota or Lexus like put its mind to it and built like a genuine supercar. And I trust that the team behind this is doing the same thing. And with electric powertrains, like you get individual wheel torque vectoring, which is stuff that you can't easily do with a gas engine. I I know that Lexus is already doing the fake engine shifts and paddle shifters, right? Like we've seen in the RZ. I'm sure that can be evolved in a way that can be fun. There's a lot of potential with this, so I'm definitely not going to write it off based on it not
Yeah.
having a
Oh
V10.
no. Yeah. I think you're right too about the LFA. Like it was an old school Lamborghini, like a modern take on it, because Lamborghini's since gone into actual like hardcore performance, but it was
Yeah.
like the visuals and the audio were amazing. And yeah, like pretty much anything else in its price range would probably outrun it on a track, but that didn't matter. It was like
Mhm.
that sort of like a Veyron, right? Like that's like, oh, that's that thing. Who
Yeah.
cares what it actually
But
drives like?
that's a great point. Yeah. And I think the other interesting thing about this that we should probably touch on is that the interior is way different from the Toyotas.
Mhm.
It's much more pared back and it feels, I mean, you and I will be familiar with this. It feels like a video game in the coolest sense of the word, where it's got one screen that just like folds and bends and gives you all the information right around your steering wheel. Like
Cool.
it looks like it will be a very focused machine. And so I'm excited.
Well, two last quick things before we move on. One is how you said the batteries go in other products that probably they're developing to use in this. The Toyota we just talked about, maybe that twin turbo V8 can find a new home. Maybe the Tundra needs to start competing against those Raptor R's and the TRXs.
Yeah,
Uh,
they've got to spread that development cost out, put the V8 and everything.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Imagine a 650 horsepower Tundra. That'd be awesome. Or Tacoma and like go full street truck.
Okay.
And for this name, I mean, it's way cheesy, and I'm happy they didn't do it, but they could have gone with LEA.
Ugh. The
Yeah.
Lexus Leah.
I didn't think of that.
I mean, you could do LFE, but that doesn't work really either. I liked LFR when that
EFA?
was the rumor, like
Yeah.
the EFA, the EFA.
Anyway, moving on because this is going to be a long episode, so we need to get two things. Kyle, you drove the BMW iX3, which the brand is not shy about saying it's basically the rebirth of their company.
Yeah, it's a very philosophical sort of first drive, because when a brand tells you that everything is new, we're like, well, so is this even a BMW anymore? And yeah, it is. Or rather, it's what we remember BMW being. Um, like daring, challenging, um, really fun to drive. And this isn't even an M product or even Diet M. This is just a regular trim at this point. Um, we got to drive this on the road and track, the new iX3, and it has no adaptive suspension. It is just a passive setup, and yet it was fun and adjustable and engaging on the track. It's really smooth on the road, very well damped, excellent body control. It's a surprisingly good vehicle, and that's coming from someone who knew the specs going in and knew that this was going to be a pretty big leap. It feels like a generation was skipped. So we'll talk about the iX a little later in this show about the existing BMW electric vehicle, and that thing is very good, and it was updated for this year. It feels like this is so much further evolved than that. Uh, I genuinely, I, I don't know how other competitors are going to match this, at least this year. And also, we don't know pricing yet, which is a big, tough question mark. But
Mhm.
the range that BMW is telling us, it's only going to be maybe $3,000 more than an equivalent X3 gas, and it's like this is more spacious, more comfortable, more tech. Like we're getting closer to parity with EVs, and that erases one other roadblock in my mind.
Well, the luxury space, it's going to be much easier to do. And when you build
Yeah,
a platform like this that eventually can also take gas engines and hybrids or whatever, then yeah, I mean, it's just a matter of plugging and playing different drivetrains. So the cost shouldn't be much different.
Yes. I misremembered something when you and I were talking before we started recording about this platform. The Neue Klasse platform is exclusively EV.
Is it?
Yeah,
Well,
it's not multi-energy. So I guess the existing platforms that are multi-energy will continue on. But yeah, this starts a whole new series of vehicles, and they won't just be SUVs.
and you had limited time with it, and you and I both we can't wait till we can get it at home and really drive it
Yes.
for a week and test it because it's got so much new tech. And when I was there for the unveiling, they didn't have pricing obviously then either, but they
Yeah.
did have for Europe, and the old iX3 and the new one were almost the same price. Like there wasn't much difference. So with all this new advanced tech, like it looks like they're trying to make an effort to keep the price
Yeah.
reasonable. So yeah, I can't wait to try this. And like you said, it's sort of daring and advanced. And if it's the right direction with a lot of this tech, it's going to take the competitors a while to catch up. Not everything's going to work the way they want, or not work. Sorry, everything will work the way they want. Not everything's going to resonate with customers the way they want. But if you get at least 75% of all this new stuff to be stuff that people suddenly want, and aren't going to look for a vehicle without it, then you're in a great spot.
Yeah, I will say that the again, based on only driving it for a day, but the new tech, like specifically the panoramic vision display and the new touchscreen, as someone who, like most journalists, would prefer physical buttons, I will say that this setup is probably one of the better ones if you're relying on a touchscreen. The vision setup is really easy to see whenever, and you realize how quickly you don't need a central or like a driver instrument cluster. It's very customizable. It's easy to read, and yeah, it all worked very smoothly.
All right. Well, this episode's going long, so that wraps up the news and reviews. It was just 3 stories, but they're very important stories. We'll be back on the Auto Guide Show brought to you by eBay Motors in a minute with a returning guest, Connie, and we have lots to discuss with her. We'll just have a quick word from our sponsor and be right back. eBay has reinvented vehicle buying. From click to curb, everything's covered. It's all thanks to their new secure purchase. Ever try to buy a car and end up in a parking lot with a stranger on some blind trust? Or spend half the day at a dealership talking to pushy salespeople and signing paperwork? Or maybe worst of all, wait hours at the DMV just to transfer the title? That era is over. For years, eBay has been the go-to for gearheads, collectors, and DIYers. Because whatever you're into, from classics to SUVs and trucks to imports, eBay's got it. And now with Secure Purchase, eBay isn't just where you find your next ride, it's where you can buy it, start to finish. Sellers and titles are verified, paperwork is handled by experts, and payments are traceable and digital, so you know exactly who you're dealing with and exactly what you're getting. Plus, you can finance, insure, and register your vehicle all in one place. No more hours at the dealership, no more trips to the DMV. Get your vehicle, plates, and paperwork shipped to your door ready to drive. And it's all part of one seamless process designed to feel as easy as buying anything else online. And eligible vehicles purchased on eBay are backed by up to $100,000 in purchase protection. Thinking about selling your ride? Secure Purchase makes that simple too, because you know your buyer and their funds are verified. If you still owe on your car, the financing payoff is fully integrated, so you're not chasing paperwork or waiting on checks to clear. And with Secure Purchase, you get paid fast, and you're not going to be stuck chasing no-shows or answering the 5th still available messages. This is what modern car buying looks like. Skip the DMV, skip the sketchy meetups. Buy it on eBay. eBay, things people love. Secure Purchase is powered by Carmel Dealer Services, LLC, and eBay subsidiary. All right, welcome back. We have a special guest returning for her second time on the show. Connie, for those who missed you the first time, if you just introduce yourself.
I'm Connie Peters. I have YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, do video reviews of cars, new cars.
Yeah, so last time you were on, we talked a bit about your car history and how you got there. So we're going to spend a good chunk today talking about 2025, because you drive as many cars as Kyle and I do, or maybe even more. So sort of our surprises, our highlights, maybe some lowlights. But first, you were just Out somewhere in a desert, it looks like, according to all your photos.
Yeah, I was covering the last couple days of the Rebelle Rally, which is a women-only 10-day off-road rally, Nevada and California, and it's 2,800 kilometers. I think there was almost 65 teams this year. So they're teams of two, one navigator, one driver, and I just got to be on the ground, with the media, but getting driven around by their pro drivers, part of the crew, the team, to see the action. And it was epic. Got to ride in a, what is a Razor called? Like a little side-by-side
Yeah.
in the dunes, in the Glamis Dunes, Southern California, right on the border. And watching these teams navigate, they have no GPS, no phones. They're navigating with, old school compass and maps, and that's it. And like bare bones maps. We're not talking like typical maps. They're like terrain maps. Anyway, watching these women navigate their way, getting stuck so many times in the dunes, because these are everything from like a bone stock BMW iX3 to like a totally kitted out off-road, Defender, like totally kitted out for this, terrain. And they have to find these different checkpoints, and it's kind of a race, but it's also about getting to the checkpoints. Anyway, it was fantastic. It was epic watching, being at the finish line, being in the dunes, watching them get themselves out, like in stuck situations. They'd be trying to dig themselves out for a while, and then they can call for help. If they do call for help, they lose some points. But I watched multiple recoveries. I watched these women, getting themselves unstuck, driving over dunes that we were like, you can't see over these dunes. It was so crazy and such an epic experience. And I really think those women, the teams that are competing, and the whole rally itself, like the crew and the recovery teams and the medic and all the staff, it's really quite an amazing production and event.
Sounds like you're ready for next year, Connie. Who are you going to drive with?
Yeah, they've been bugging me like a couple of times. I've had it, and Jill Simonello, who I know well, is one of the navigators, and she was already kind of poking me like, hey, you want to drive? I'm like, I don't think I could do it. I don't think I could do 10 days camping every night, pitching your own tent every night out in the middle of nowhere. As it was, I camped the 3 nights that I was with the crew, and I didn't have to put up my own tent, and the last nights were like glamping in a yurt. So that's about as rough as I get. I could do the driving. I know I could handle the driving. It's all the other stuff that I don't think.
I mean, as long as you drive one of the bigger vehicles, you could just sleep in the back of it.
True. Yeah. Actually, you're not allowed. They're not allowed.
Oh.
They're not allowed near their vehicles at night. Their vehicles get, put over here, and then they go set up their tents over here, kind of thing. And there is actually someone watching the cars at night. And if you forget something, like you forget your glasses or a water bottle or something in your car, they actually have to pay the person to access the cars, because it's, again, they don't want anybody tampering. Anyway, there's a lot of rules.
I mean, the event sounds fantastic. I'd be for the driving and the camping. I'm just obviously not qualified to be able to enter, but it does sound like an amazing event. So does anyone get lost? Like, do they have to go recover people in the dark that just are completely... Because I don't know
that they've had to recover people in the dark, but I do know that they do get lost. Some days are much longer for the crew and the teams than others because of those situations where they miss a checkpoint or they go the wrong direction. But what I thought was really interesting too is that every car is, I don't know the correct term for this, but they're tracking every car. So all the crew sees where all the vehicles are in their maps and on their apps. They have an app, they have, so they know where everybody is. Nobody's going to go get lost and abandoned.
Yeah. I do far less intense charity road scavenger hunt type rallies too, and same thing. My friend that runs it, he has us all have an app so he can see, and then someone might get a gentle phone call being like, you might not want to continue where you're going because you're going the complete opposite way of where you're supposed to be going.
And it was quite interesting to watch them in the morning leaving from the first checkpoint on the very last day, you know, they don't all go off in the same direction, and seeing them, how they figure out where they're going next. Anyway, it's fascinating. It was fascinating and wild. And I think those women are crazy, but very, very cool.
Yeah. That's a lot of sand.
Yeah, it was a lot.
I feel like people can go and check out some of the footage, right?
Yeah.
Or some of the coverage at the official site. But all I keep thinking every time, like we've had you talk about this now, we had Emmy a few months back talking about it before she competed. I feel like this is ripe for some sort of streaming documentary series, right? Like I just
Totally.
we've had it before with the Mazda MX-5 Cup and obviously Drive to Survive. It's like
Netflix should do it for sure.
Yeah,
because it's so fascinating to watch these women. And like, I was watching this, and the drama like would be so there, because a few times we, as like I was with a pro driver, was part of the crew and media, and then in my car too was like a photographer and a videographer, because they have a huge photo video crew. Huge. Go watch their YouTube videos. They're epic. They're amazing. All their photography is amazing. They do an amazing job at that. But we would be like cruising around, and then we'd see a stuck car, so we'd go watch them for a while. And you could see the frustration in the team, where the driver's only allowed to drive and the navigator's only allowed to navigate. So they're trying to unstuck the car, like they're physically digging the sand. And this driver keeps trying to get unstuck, and the navigator is like standing off to the side, and she's like, you know, she's getting so frustrated, and then she would get stuck again, and then they would be digging out again. And finally, like, we just left because we were feeling guilty. Like,
just left.
Like, we were just adding to the stress of being standing there watching, taking photos and like video and everything. And so I think, I mean, those women, when they're doing it, they know they're being documented the entire time anyway. So I think it would make an epic show. Mic them up. I want to hear the frustration. I want to hear the you know, frustration with each other, losing patience, all of it. I think it would be amazing TV.
Yeah. And then like the payoff too, right? Like that's the great thing is you'd see the two extremes. You see the frustration, then you'd see like, you know, making it like as the sun's setting, like getting to where they need to be. Like I feel like it just make really compelling TV.
I agree. Great idea.
I think it would get a TV MA rating though.
It depends on the season.
Yeah. All right, well that's awesome. And now completely changing seasons as we're getting ready for winter. I mean, it's already hit us here. Kyle and I were out shooting all week, which we'll talk about a bit later, and freezing. But it is almost the end of the year, and you drive a lot of vehicles. Kyle drives a lot of vehicles, and guess what? So do I. So we thought we'd bring you on too to talk about what's really impressed you this year, or surprised you in a good or bad way. Any like standouts that come to mind right away?
Well, this is not a surprise at all, but I drove the Defender Octa, which is like the Defender on steroids. Like, it's crazy suspension, everything. Like, it's completely different. It's on another level. I drove that in Western Colorado, both on a Baja track, like a rally track, jumped it, had a pro race driver with me, and that was amazing. And then we drove it off road, like off pavement, for a good 8 hours from Western Colorado to Moab and back in the same day. And that thing can handle anything. Like, we had, you know, the pros with us, obviously, and we didn't even air down the tires. We're just like rock crawling. That thing can do anything. So no surprise to me, but it was
Connie, like that sounds cool, but I get it next week and I get to drive in the suburban streets of Toronto. So you want to know who's really getting the adventure.
There has to be some trails that you can take it on. There has to be.
You know what? There are, but they're all like at least 2-hour drives. So I don't even know if I'll get a chance to do that. But if I just need to go north now, and I'll get in snow at least.
So I also want to clarify, since we have Connie here as a witness, that was originally booked for me, but I'm going to be gone for most of the week on a trip. So Mike, maybe, you know, when I come back, I could take it for a day.
I think it'll be up north somewhere. Missing. Sorry.
You just abandon it. You're like, I did find something that it couldn't make it over. Oops.
When I get that at home, I'm definitely taking it on some trails. We have some great trails. I mean, it is not close for me either, but I just took a Bronco. I just took a Bronco off-road recently, and I just posted all that content this week. So if you're interested, I took it on some BC trails up here. We just go up some Forest Service roads, and then there's trails, and you can.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
It's
guys
very
are kind of spoiled for good trails out there.
Yeah, I think we probably do. I mean, I grew up in Manitoba, so I know I'm spoiled in BC. I know.
Well, I mean, the advantage of living in Manitoba is you can see where all the trails are
Yeah.
without having to go anywhere.
Yeah, there's no mystery around any corner.
Yeah.
Whereas here, you got to get out and look sometimes, make sure it's safe to go over the hill or
Yeah.
around the corner.
Yeah, kind of go test this at an elevation. Well, it might be. I can test it at one elevation consistently.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
that's just pretty cool.
That's at obviously the extreme high cool end. Anything more regular, sort of practical?
The Prius. The last time I covered the Prius, I only had it for a day, just time constraints. So I didn't really get to spend enough time in it. And this time when I had it, I drove it a lot. And when I filled it up to bring it back, it was $14 in gas. Like I was like, what? Usually I'm used to spending $100 a week or more on gas because, we're always in SUVs or luxury sedans. I have the G90 this week. I'm sure that's not going to be cheap to fill up either.
No.
But yeah, I liked the car. Like it was peppy. It was not like, some economic cars are really boring to drive. It wasn't boring to drive, and it was really, really efficient.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and it looks really good. Like the new Prius looks really good.
Yeah, it's one of the most impressive vehicles. I think I've driven it every year since it came out, and every year I'm just like, yeah, this is still great. It's pricey, like most Toyotas.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I can't think if I drove it this year. I probably did.
We did at the beginning of the year.
It's like we did sending comparisons. I forget what we included in them half the time.
And we drove it with the Civic Hybrid Hatchback.
That was just the start of this year. Wow,
that was the start of this year. Yeah,
so long ago. All right. Well,
what about you guys?
Well, yeah, I was gonna say. So one I've driven, and I want to see if you drove it. That Kyle and I have gone on about many times on the show is the Maverick Lobo. I love that thing. Did you get to drive that?
I thought it was really cool, but again, time constraints. I only had it for a day, and I do need to rebook that. I do need to spend. It made me laugh. Like the second I got in, I put in Lobo mode. I think it's called Lobo mode, right? The drive mode.
Yeah.
And I was laughing like out loud as I was driving because it feels like it's like a totally different vehicle than a little pickup truck, right?
And it's getting the T300 or whatever they call it next year from the factory, where you can get 300 horsepower if you want to pay a little more. So
yeah,
honestly, all it needs.
More is always better.
I feel like Mike likes it more than I do. I liked it, but I'm still I'm enamored with the regular Maverick, right? Like I think the regular Maverick is such a good vehicle for so many people.
Right.
But the Lobo to me is the one where I'm like, this or a WRX, I'd probably take the Lobo.
It's a little more. What is the word I'm looking for? It makes sense because you can use it as a truck and you can drive it like a little sporty car.
Yeah.
See, Kyle's not in the same situation you and I are in. That's why I love it so much. Is I get my sporty car, but I get my suburban house family car as well. It's like an SUV. It can take stuff for the garden. So it's just one of those. That's why I love the CTV Blackwing so much too. CT5 Blackwing.
Yes.
It too.
Oh, everyone loves that.
I know, but I like it more than a lot of sports cars because it's like I can take the family and still have a sports car. For the price, I was gonna say 911, but those are so expensive now. Cayman, I'm gonna take the CT5 718 because 718 I can drive by myself like on the weekend if I'm lucky. So
yeah.
What about you, Kyle?
Okay. What impressed me? As a general category, the 3-row EVs this year, they've all been really impressive. I drove the Buzz because Mike, you had it last holiday season, and I took it for a few days. I still really love it, and whenever I see one on the road, especially when I'm with family, they're always saying, "Oh my God, that's so cool! I didn't know that was out." The problem, as we've talked about, is that it's pricey and its range is not great. The Ioniq 9, super impressive. Definitely a vehicle that feels like it should be put up against premium products, like an Acura MDX or something, instead of a regular mainstream model. The Vistic was good. The Lucid Gravity is probably the most impressive family vehicle I've driven all year, with a price tag to match. Like, I
can't
all
wait
of
to
them.
get into that. I have never been in the Gravity.
It's deeply impressive.
I
There were
believe
like
you.
some slight software issues when we were driving them because they were early pre-prods, but like, it's great. It's so spacious. I've been really impressed by all those, which I mean is a little funny because, yeah, like Mike kind of hinted, I don't need a 3-row. I don't need the space. We live in the biggest city in the country. Yeah.
But I mean,
Yeah.
there's a demand for them, right? A 3-row family EV.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And we just got out of one of our favorites this week in our comparison. We had the Santa Fe. And that's like Mike and I have both said, that's our default suggestion when people are like, oh, I'm looking for an SUV for the family. What should I get? It's like Santa Fe. Get the Santa Fe. It's the right size. In case you need a 3rd row, it's there.
You'll find one you want: hybrid, off-road, fully loaded, base. Like there's lots there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, so that we've been all cheery and positive in the holiday season. Anything surprise you, either we'll say in a good way, or anything that you didn't not like, just kind of you were like, oh, this is it, like you're expecting more?
Who's getting the coal?
Yeah.
The only thing is I have the Stelvio right now, Alfa Romeo Stelvio, and I've had this with almost every Alfa, is just a little glitchy in the software. And then I loved the Stelvio Quadrifoglio. I think I had it 4 or 5 years ago, and I loved it so much. So I had like these high expectations for the regular Stelvio, and obviously it doesn't come close. It's still nice to drive, but it feels a lot like underpowered. It feels a little bit underpowered. But maybe that's just because I love the Quadrifoglio so much.
It feels less standout, right? Like less special.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely.
whereas the Giulia in the Veloce and those trims is still a really good car.
Yes.
When it works.
Yeah, really fun to drive, more dynamic. Yeah.
Yeah.
When it works.
Mike. My last one didn't work, but I'm getting redemption booking soon, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've noticed glitchy on. I had a Giulia, I don't know, 2-3 years ago, that the infotainment would just like shut off like completely, and I would have to restart the car. It was strange.
Well, at least that worked. I had no center console buttons the entire week I had the car. The infotainment worked, but I couldn't change anything outside of CarPlay, pretty much. But for me, it's short-term memory for sure, because like as I said already once, like I can't remember a lot of stuff I drove in the spring and summer. It's been so long. So more recent, it's a reflection of the industry as a whole. But last year I drove the kicks, and what it like the new kicks compared to the old kicks, and what they did with minimal changes, just with styling and all-wheel driving. Like, it was such a great improvement. And then when it came to the car this year that hardly anyone's buying with the Sentra, I was just hoping for more. Like, it's got new style, but it didn't really change otherwise. And it's not a bad car. Like we've said many times on this podcast, it's still a good car. It's just I was just hoping they could do a bit more, but I know you're not going to put big investment in something that doesn't sell like it used to.
That's a fair point. And I mean, we're seeing the Rogue plug-in. We're talking about not a lot of investment. Nissan seems to be saving its money as best it can.
What about you, Kyle? Anything?
Yes. The Cadillac Escalade IQ. That is the vehicle that just did not hit for me. I appreciate what it is, and I will argue that it makes more sense than the gas model in a lot of ways, because a luxury car should be quiet and smooth, and it rides well enough. The problems that I ran into it are, like we're saying, glitchy software a lot. It's way too heavy. I can't get past the idea that it's 9,000 pounds. Like I feel like that's not a solution, right? Like I'm hoping for cleverer solutions, whereas GM's approach with its big EVs is just we're gonna huck a huge battery pack at it and hope for the best. And also the quality wasn't there. That's a $200,000 car in Canada and what 180,000 in the US, and there were creaks and rattles everywhere in the cabin. So I didn't like that, and the weird the executive seating or luxury seating or whatever for the second row means that you can't access the third row.
Yeah.
But they kept the third row. Like I don't know why they didn't just get rid of it like a Range Rover would when you get the autobiography or the SV. Like I don't. It doesn't make sense to me. The vehicle as a whole.
Yeah.
You can huck the kids back there over the seats.
So yeah, but you're gonna have to launch them. Like,
buckle.
Yeah.
So
that's the thing is like the Vistic is a really good electric 3-row Cadillac. So I don't really get what the point is.
did you drive it?
You're
Connie?
not wrong. Pardon?
Did you drive the IQ?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with everything Kyle said. I mean, I didn't have any glitches. But yeah, I just feel like it's too much. Like it's too much and it's a bit unnecessary. And I mean, yeah, I love the Vistic though.
Yeah, Vistic, fantastic.
Yeah.
I didn't drive the IQ when Kyle had it, but right around the same time drove the Escalade, just the regular one. And I think that's my problem with the IQ is the Escalade sort of what it's always stood for and the customer base and what it does. It still does all that really well. Like it was still a great big truckish SUV, probably the best one out there in that weird sort of small segment because it's like it and the Navigator and the Grand Wagoneer, and then you got a couple from Japan. But like the Escalade's the Escalade, and they still do it well. So it's sort of like, why do I need another Escalade that's nothing like this Escalade? Like they could have given it one of its ick names, like Uptick and Vistic. Like give it a different name and position it as like more of an electric Range Rover than an Escalade. But it seems like the regular Escalade is so good, and you're not gonna, I think, convince a regular Escalade buyer to switch to the big EV.
No,
so you're clearly going after a different market with it. So why even use the name?
Right.
Yeah, that is like the catch-22, right? Because like I can understand wanting to use the name because it has so much recognition.
Yeah.
But like you said, people who are repeat Escalade buyers, like they want the Escalade and only that exact version of the vehicle.
Yes.
So,
Oh, well, anything surprised you in a good sense? Not something that you like, but something you went into thinking like, or last time I drove one of these, it wasn't great. And then you're like, oh, this is actually surprising.
Probably the Prius again. Like, I mean, I was like, ho hum. Oh, I have a Prius next week. But yeah, like I drove it a lot, and I was pleasantly surprised at how much I enjoyed driving it and how efficient it was, and then how kind of quirky it is in a good way. Like I like how they put some weird, funny Easter eggs in it, like underneath in the wireless charging pad, it says hashtag wireless charger. Inside the glove box in the back, it has to be empty. Pull your stuff out. Hashtag glove box. Under the center console, there's like a little pocket or container, and if you lift the cover, it says hashtag hidden compartment underneath. I think those kind of things are fun.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I like that more brands are doing stuff like that, like fun little Easter eggs, because it's like, it helps create a positive ownership experience, right? Like you can point it out to your friends, like it's just makes you smile.
Yeah, and speaking of Easter eggs and more of them, the electric charger has a lot of them in them. I was very surprised, and I was lucky. One of the designers for Stellantis follows me on Instagram and will sometimes comment and message me and stuff. And so when I had the charger, he worked on the charger specifically. I said, hey, you want to share any Easter eggs? You want to share any inside stuff with me? And it gave me like a whole very detailed list. So it was very cool.
That's handy.
Yeah.
Like a cheat sheet.
Yeah, it was totally. Like I would have never guessed that their head of design, his Ralph Gilles, I'm going to say his last name wrong, but his initials are on the back of the infotainment screen. And like, you would never think, like, I even thought to myself, how am I even going to get this on camera? So I'm like, I'm in the car and I'm like, you got your doing gymnastics on the dashboard to try to see behind the infotainment screen. But sure enough, they're there. So, and there's a swear even in the center console again, the little cover of your little cubby area, if you pull it off, you have to really pull it because it's like suctioned in there or whatever. If you pull it off, there's like a word search kind of thing on the back, and there's a swear in there. And then there's some Morse code. Oh, it's the swear is in the Morse code. Sorry, I forgot. There's a Morse code thing. Anyway,
Sounds
yes,
dodgy.
I think those kind of things are fun.
Yeah. Oh,
Sounds
that's
like Connie
great.
had a set of screwdrivers and ratchets and she was taking his car apart.
Just leave me with it. No,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it was pretty. Yeah. Anyway, it was cool. I like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I like those touches. Like how Volvo and Polestar in their SUVs sometimes will have the what fits in the trunk little pictures.
Oh yeah.
In the plastic, or they'll have like measuring tapes in there and stuff. Like,
Oh, I'll have to look for that. I didn't know that.
Yeah. That
Mhm.
one's a fun one. I also like in Polestar on the 2 anyway, that the logo is reflected onto the glass roof with the little
yes.
tab. I
Yes.
like that. Just little things.
Little things,
Yeah.
but yeah, you're right. Like the ownership experience. I don't know. It maybe gives you a sense of like, I'm cool because I have this feature. I don't know.
Yeah. Like you're in the know, because people who
Yeah.
only know of the car probably don't know these things.
Yeah.
And that's a big part of car ownership. I mean, we've said a million times, if we all were rational car buyers, we would buy anything that's on the market today. We'd all
Right.
buy, a bare bone work truck if you have to use it for work, and the rest of us would be in these personal transport pods. But
Right.
so I got a question for you. Did you drive this year either the new Equinox or Terrain?
I had the new Terrain, not the EV though.
No,
Yeah.
that's did the Denali?
Yeah, I thought you were referring to the Equinox EV. Yes, I had the GMC Terrain AT4 last week or the week before, a couple weeks
you
ago.
had the
Yeah.
AT4. Okay, I had the Denali, and I think it's Denali specific, but the infotainment system in that blew me away at just how simply clever it is and well laid out. Like, we get into these screens and you get stuck with what's on your screens or whatnot. And this one, I don't know if the AT4 is the same, but the main screen, which is a vertical screen, but integrated so it's not sticking above the dash, which is nice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Would have 3 sections, and I could put CarPlay on one section, audio say on the second, and still have a third for whatever, and they're all very visible, and I could customize whatever I want. And then I also have my driver information center to customize. And there's a couple cars where if you have CarPlay or Android Auto, there's a bit of information, but this was one where people thought, like, you know what, people want to use this and other things at the same time, and they made it dead simple to operate. Like, I don't
recall if
Kyle
the
and I
AT4
we're in some systems this week in our comparison that you're just like, who thought this was a good idea? So it's just, I mean, the ironic thing is CarPlay is going to go away in the Denali, but
I was just
I
going
guess
to
if
say
you had
that,
Android
which
Auto,
is
you
so
could still use
sad.
it that way. Yeah.
Which is so sad because I had the, as we know, all GM EVs are moving away from CarPlay. And I think, like you just said, all GM cars are moving away from CarPlay, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So I had the electric, what's the pickup from
Sierra.
GM?
Or
The Sierra.
Silverado. Okay.
The Sierra. I had the Silverado earlier in there. I had the Silverado recently, the EV, and my neighbor was in love with it. Like, he was like, that is gorgeous. I want that color. I want that. I think it was the Denali. I can't remember the trim. I think it was the Denali. Anyway, so I said, do you guys want to go for a drive? Like, do you want to, like I'll take you for a ride so you can see it. Anyway, he's in love with everything. I even offered to take them to go do, I did take them to go do the crab walk and everything. Anyway, he's in love.
Okay.
The girlfriend's with him, and she's like loving it too. And she's like a luxury. She drives a Range Rover, I think. Yeah. She has a Defender. Anyway, long story short, we get to the restaurant or almost at the restaurant, and I say, but no CarPlay. You have to use the native Google built-in. And he was like, no Apple CarPlay? I said, no Apple CarPlay for GM EVs. Why not? I had to try to explain. Anyway, long story short, he's not buying it because it doesn't have Apple CarPlay.
What a surprise. I know.
Yep.
I can't. It's still the most mind-boggling decision. And I know there's 1,000 rationale within the company, and it's been, decided and verified and rationalized by someone, but people outside of the company, or they need to get people outside of the company to step in and say, look, there's a reason no one else is doing this. And it's not because Apple has some control over them. It's because Apple has control over us. And we're And we're not willing to change. I don't care if you're going to give me free data and free Google account and whatnot. I'm not making a second one. It's just not worth it. And
And the
that,
people,
and I was just gonna say, like in my Waze that has all of my history, so it knows as soon as I type a letter what I'm probably trying to get at. It won't, because it'll be a different account. So yeah.
and the people that don't care because they're buying a Tesla or a Rivian, because those brands do not have CarPlay, those people care more about the brand they're buying, that affinity, than having the convenience of having Apple CarPlay. Whereas when you're buying a GM, you're not buying a GM because it's a GM. You might be buying a Denali of some whatever Yukon because it's a Yukon, or because it's a Denali, but you're not buying a GM because it's a GM. So you need to have that functionality, that CarPlay in there.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like, I understand, like Mike said, I understand the rationale behind wanting us to use the native stuff. I totally get it, but we're past that point now. Like, people are so used to their phones. Our phones are our lives. They have all of our information on them.
Everything.
You can't ask people to just be like, no, ignore that. Like, it just doesn't work.
Yeah. And I love the Google Automotive. Like, I love the Google built-in system, but I want my car, if I was buying a car with my money, I want both. If it's going to be a Google system, I still want Apple CarPlay.
Yep.
Yeah. All I can have is people mounting their phones to their windshield on a suction mount and using it anyway.
Exactly. And then being doubly
I'd be distracted. Yeah, exactly. So
it's crazy.
Yeah. Well, before we let you go, anything else that this year you were like, this is great, this wasn't great, or anything that you're just cannot wait for next year?
Good question. I haven't thought far into next year. I'm still trying to wrap my head around that we only have a few weeks left in this year.
I know.
But not off the top of my head, not really.
No.
I know Kyle and I want to drive the Prelude because we didn't get to yet, but that's only the short-term thing. That's
it'll take forever for me to get into that anyway. I don't know when we'll get it here. So, and I won't be in any drive programs with Honda probably. So
honestly, the one that I can't wait for both of you to drive, because I want to hear both of your opinions on it, is the new iX3.
Oh yes, you're right. I would love to drive that, because I was so super duper impressed with the iX. Like the new for 26, they improved all the efficiency, the battery, like everything was new. I loved everything about it. It was incredible. And I'd driven it before, and I really loved it. So yeah, iX3, I can't wait. Yeah, I loved your photos, by the way, Kyle, the photos you posted from your trip. Where was that, Spain?
Yeah. South of Spain makes it real easy to get good photos of cars.
Well, you're really good at it too, but it's you're right. I can't wait to get into that one. It's an intriguing vehicle.
Me too. I was at the launch, so like I had to learn the car inside and out because I was doing video and all these stories. So like all the stuff I've learned about that, some of it you're like, is this gonna work? I really need to try. And as cool as like it would have been going to Spain like Kyle did and driving it, it's like I need it here for a week and I can really start testing this stuff out and see in practical real world if it works or not. I'm almost certain it will. Like, but I want to see how it is. Like I want to see this head-up display that's projecting like 20 feet down the road and all that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. That'll be when we have Connie back on for a third time. Is once you guys have driven it, we can all have a little session.
Get together.
Yeah.
Reach out to BMW. We'll get 3 iX3s and we'll just live stream us all driving it.
Oh, that would be amazing.
And we'll meet in the middle of the country, so somewhere in Manitoba.
Back at Connie's hometown.
Why not? Sounds great. Let's do it. Prairies in the summer.
Yeah.
I'll bring the bug repellent.
Yeah, we'll need it.
All right. Well, thanks again. We will definitely have you on again, and enjoy your holidays. And well, your winter's not as bad as ours, but survive it, and we'll see you when the weather gets nicer.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for having me. Happy holidays, everybody.
Happy holidays, Connie. Thanks.
All right, welcome back. We once again have Colum Wood on, and before we get into this week's news and rumors, this will air after the Formula One Championships decided, but since it's Friday for us, currently we have no idea, so congrats, Lando. Congrats, Max. Congrats, Oscar. There, one of those will work.
I don't think it'll be Oscar.
No, but you know, he's mathematically there. I don't know, maybe McLaren will be like, Lando, you know what? Strategy is drive it to a wall, or who knows what they'll come up with. They went full Ferrari last week.
It's not. Yeah, I was gonna say it's not Ferrari. Yeah, that was bad. That was really just. It's part of me wants to like. I think the biggest problem was that they didn't split the strategy. I don't blame them for staying out. I think like you never know, and had they done the opposite, people could have criticized them too. It is obviously there's the most pressure being in the lead because you have to make the first call. And like people say they made the wrong call. I don't think the wrong call was to pit. I think the wrong call was to not pit. It was to not pit both of them. And maybe that's going to their whole don't want to favor one driver. I don't know.
Exactly. Like once Piastri stayed out, Piastri was leading, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Once he stayed out, but Max was pitting, they should have thrown Lando in. But I think it's exactly what you said. They didn't want to show favoritism because that would have guaranteed Lando was in the hunt, could have won the championship, and Oscar's out. But we've been saying all year it's going to come back to bite them if they're not careful. So if they don't go full Lando this weekend, that's already happened. So we'll see if we're right or not. Then what are you doing? Because like you're going to let Max sneak in there and take it.
Yeah, it'll be feisty. I predict that I feel like there's a Max Lando incident coming. So we'll see.
Oh, he's going to go full. He's going to go full Schumacher.
If he could keep his wheels on, he might. You never know.
Actually, no, because if he took out Max and himself, then I guess Oscar wins. So he can't even do that.
No, you can't. You can't like do both. There's Oscar's close enough that it would be a real problem. So you have to
three-way crash. You gotta
let
them get first and second, qualify third, and just like a video game, don't break in the first corner.
Yuki's gonna. That's his like
get his revenge.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, always revenge. He'll take out Max. Boom.
Yeah, Yuki and Lawson will just get Max on both sides, and
that's it.
2025 coming back at you. Watch this, like some of this have happened, and people will think we're
totally insane, or we could see the future. That's right. We're the Oracle.
All right, let's get out of the real rumors that we've had.
Rumors. Forget the news. Everybody knows news. I guess this is actually news too.
This is news.
I just feel so vindicated about this because I mean I shouldn't. Again, it's not surprising really, but the fact that Toyota or Gazoo Racing is now going to be the title sponsor for Haas next year. I think more importantly, here's a little quote from Akio Toyoda. He says, "The time has come for the next generation to take their first steps towards the world stage." So they're, I think Toyota's continuing they'll invest even more and it'll become a bigger partnership in the future. And I think their drivers are coming as well. Like I've talked about that for many podcasts. So actually in free practice 1 this morning, Ryo Hirakawa was there doing some testing. So I think I say see you later, Ocon. His days are numbered. He's got a seat next year, but that's the end of him, I think.
So you think, like 27?
For sure. 27. I don't know if 27 they like fully take over, but 27 they bring in a Toyota driver for sure. So
right.
Yeah, and Ocon's off. Behrman's been outperforming him. I haven't seen anything super impressive from Toyota sort of fleet of junior drivers. So it could still take many years to actually bring somebody up from the actual super junior ranks and find somebody who's just like a next level talent. So,
and I mean, after the news we talked about, Kyle and I earlier with those supercars and the GR GT3,
crazy.
Yeah.
This is a case of like, what a great surprise when they tell you it's coming. And you're like, yeah, we know. And I'm sure we all expected like it makes 420 horsepower or something. And they're like 641. They're like, and it's legit, right? Like very, very impressive. I did not see that level of performance coming from Toyota.
Oh, I always assumed it was because it's a twin turbo V8. I mean, you can't make less than 550 or so, but I mean, it notwithstanding that bizarre NASCAR truck press conference he had, he's really going all in with performance, which is really cool to see. It's just funny that next year Toyota is going to be full Red Bull Infinity from 10 years ago, where it's going to be GR Toyota with the Ferrari engine.
Yeah, exactly.
But for how long, right?
Yeah, not long. I mean, Ferrari's gonna have to start looking for customers because we'll talk in a second. Cadillac will be their customer for a year or two, but then Cadillac's gonna have their own engines and gonna have Ferrari's basically becoming the engine supplier to all these new teams, as it were. So,
yeah, Cadillac. I mean, there's always just a stopgap for them. But you're right. Who else do they have besides Haas? And they have another one right now that
is Sauber using their engines?
I don't know, but I think whoever it is, they also are losing it. So
yeah. Well, so here's the next news. Cadillac, again, it's news, not a rumor, but just interesting that they're being super American, and they're going to launch apparently the livery for their car during an ad during the Super Bowl. So they're just big stage all the way. It's great marketing, and I think for we know all about this, right? But I'm sure there's a ton of people throughout the United States who don't know anything about Formula One still, who don't follow it, who will all of a sudden be like, what? Cadillac has a Formula One team? And so that could help, it is a great way to kickstart a fan base, I think. So.
Yeah, I think you're right. You're looking for that middle fan who is aware of F1 and but you get the very casual fan, they'll just assume Cadillac always did, and they figure Indy is Formula One and don't know really the difference. But
yeah.
I always thought they were going to have their car at the Detroit Auto Show because that's obviously what Ford's planning to do. But this kind of makes sense now. So you're each getting your own thing. But I'm curious about this ad because what angle do you take? I'm assuming it's going to be some sort of leaders into the world, because you can't be like a red, white, and blue livery, be all Americana, because Ram's going to outdo you in the Super Bowl. That's their thing, right? So I'm curious to see what they do.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good storytelling. I think it'll be very Americana. Do you remember the old there was a Corvette ad that we still build rockets ad? That was great, right? If they pull it off right, I think they can do some really good rah America stuff. Right stage. And it's a totally separate thing. Ram can own the Americana thing, but that's for the farmers and the truck drivers and everything else, versus this is it'll be interesting to see, right? Because there is this weird, you can always see this tension within a brand like Cadillac. You've got all the diehard motorsports guys that grew up with Corvette C5 Z06s and all that stuff, and then you've got all the bougie New York, we have to have our studio that's in Manhattan and hang out with all the cool celebrities, and it's which angle are they can they bring those together, right? I feel like that's hard.
Yeah.
And I always worry that they go too far in the bougie marketing thing, and it's just not, I don't know, I just don't see that as authentically Cadillac. So
yeah, I mean, at least GM, Ford, they've had an international racing division for a long time, so they kind of understand that side. But you're right, how are they going to market this? I don't expect to see George Washington driving the Cadillac F1 car across the field.
No, you're right. That was, I don't think they could do that level, but they'll still be I think they'll go bougie. It'll be interesting to see, because I suspect it's a very different marketing approach than their car division. I suspect it's totally separate, right? It's the people who are making all the decisions about marketing the Cadillac Formula One brand are not the people doing the Cadillac cars. So
I think it needs to be a forward-looking commercial, because you can't go back on Cadillac's racing history because it's not been good. All their prototype stuff hasn't been great, and you can't really bank on Chevys because that's the different brand.
Yeah,
but they could do a history of great American racers. Andretti and some guys, and then say we're an Unser family, and then we're the next step.
I don't know if they're going to bring up the Andretti family.
Maybe not Andretti. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, you could just go around some of the family members.
Exactly. Yeah. Really quickly.
It would be funny if they mentioned all these great, racers of the past, and we're the next chapter, and they ignore the Andretti family, because
that'd be a slap in the face.
All the hockey greats, and you never mention Howe or Gretzky or something.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, last story as we're going on
so
time here.
Here is a little bit of rumor. So this actually came out a while ago. There was a story that the FIA aerodynamicist Jason Somerville, he left the FIA a while ago after he had basically been in charge of all the new aerodynamic regulations. And there were rumors about a month ago that he was going to go to Alpine, which also seemed a bit far-fetched. So now the rumor is he's going to go to Cadillac. And who better to have running your aerodynamics department. There's a lot of questions about, is this conflict of interest? They always have what they call the gardening leave. That's such a British term of basically, you know, they basically pay you not to work for a certain period of time. But if he's the guy that crafted the rules, and now you've got him working for Cadillac, it's a pretty good coup for them. So we'll see if that turns out to be true or not.
Yeah, if his whatever time period is expired, then it's not a conflict of interest. I mean, I've worked at companies where a lot of people were leaving to go to direct competitors, and they had, I think it was a 90-day or 120-day window back then, because they didn't want you taking all the secrets with you. But yeah, what better than having the guy who made the rules to find all the gray areas within the rules?
Absolutely.
Under the FIA scrambling to change them all slightly. So,
exactly. Yeah. It's going to be so interesting. I'm so excited for this weekend, which I know now is past on this podcast, but it's last race of the year, and then next year is going to be just fresh. Like I remember these eras, like the start of these eras. I don't think it'll be this way. In the past, it used to be that like, there were like in like 2010 or whatever, and like all the freaking engines are blowing up and reliability is like not very good. I don't think that'll happen. I kind of hope for it a bit, because it really just throws everything out of whack. But just so excited for. I'm already sad for losing the Formula One off season, and be like, man, I can't wait for it to be back. So
well, this is tiny. It's so short.
I know, which is great. Which is I'm happy for me. Sucks for maybe all the mechanics and stuff.
I wish with the new regs and the new teams and everything, everyone had come in new. Like you'd have not just Honda and Ford engines next year. It's like Cadillac has stuff theirs. This Toyota one we keep rumoring, and Audi. Like everyone just, here you go. But I think to your point, to start they won't. But one team will nail the formula, especially with their engine, and everyone else will want to try to catch up quick, and they'll start blowing their engines up by overdriving them. So yeah, it'll be interesting. But congrats to Max, Lando, Oscar, whoever won, and pour one out for Yuki, who won't be driving next year, but vows he'll be back.
Yes, yeah, I don't know, but yeah, it'll be good. It'll be you and I'll be glued to our TVs bright and early on Sunday morning.
All right.
Well, all right, thanks, Mike.
Next week and wrap things up from this season.
Sounds good. See you later.
eBay has reinvented car buying. From click to curb, everything is covered. Ever try to buy your car online and end up in a parking lot with a stranger on blind trust? That era is over. Now with Secure Purchase, eBay isn't just where you find your car, it's where you buy it, start to finish. Title, financing, registration, delivery, it's all built in. This is the modern way to buy your next ride on eBay. eBay, things people love. Secure Purchase is powered by Carmel Dealer Services, LLC, an eBay subsidiary.